you check the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Greetings, Fright fans, and welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Jaime and Fuego, getting y'all caught up on a bunch of recent releases that have been hitting theaters, and this is another one that I guarantee not a lot of people want to see because of the fact that, man, Fandango were giving away free tickets for this during its opening weekend, and unfortunately I had a scheduling conflict with school, so I didn't even get the chance to see it for free, man. I had to use that AMC A-list, but I'm talking about the latest pairing of Milla Jovovich and her hubby. That is right, Paul W.S. Anderson. It is a film called In the Lost Lands, and so based on a George R.R. Martin short story. Obviously, Martin is a superstar at this particular point because of his work on Game of Thrones, and then, I mean, I'm not sure how much of a hand he has in this House of the Dragon prequel, if that's based on just, like, notes or other writings of his, because I'm not a Game of Thrones person, so I can't really comment much on that. But this is kind of in that ilk in the fact that it does have, like, medieval fantasy aspects associated with it, but it also has, like, kind of a dystopian, post-apocalyptic sort of vibe to the storytelling, too. This is not a very good movie, but I don't think it's as trash as a lot of people were making it out to be, because that's the thing, you know? People have these very just averse reactions to things, and if you're not a big fan of it, you're not approaching it like I guess, a more objective journalistic sort of viewpoint, which is how I prefer, you know, with my background and my training and everything to approach things. No, it's like you either love it or you hate it. It's like the internet in all of its extremes, you know, most notably on a place like YouTube when it comes to film reviews and stuff. And so you also have Batista in this, Dave Batista, and, you know, I have seen Milla Jovovich and Dave Batista, respectively, really flex as dramatic actors in previous instances and other things like that. Dave Batista especially, you know, Milla, and all the way back to The Fifth Element, it's always been more about, like, ass-kicking coolness and stuff for her, but I guess I've given my overall thoughts that I thought this was just okay, but not as terrible as a lot of people are making it out to be. But as opposed to really going into a lot of the story right off the bat, I really want to jump into the acting, because this is some of the worst acting I've seen from either of the two of them. It's pretty bad, especially their scenes together, because they're supposed to have, like, this energy and this chemistry, and I just don't really feel that it was there. Like, Milla Jovovich had that energy with Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element. She had it at, you know, other times in her career, not in, like, a romantic tension sort of capacity like in Fifth Element, but, I mean, I don't know, she brought it in some of the Resident Evil films, and that's where I can make my most easy comp with this, especially from a stylistic standpoint. This felt like something from the mid to late 2000s. It felt like, and this is what I kind of went in expecting based on the trailers, I was like, oh, it's going to be along the lines of those Underworld movies and those Resident Evil movies, and it is most definitely like that. Throw in some of that movie Priest, for instance, and maybe with a dash of, especially since so much of this is done on, like, green screens and whatever, like almost the entirety of it, with the exception of, you know, costuming and, like, some of the props and whatnot. I don't want to give it the praise of something like Sin City, maybe something more like The Spirit, in just the glossy, everything digitized in their environments look of all of it. But you know what? I like The Spirit. It's nowhere near like the original Sin City, and I mean, you know, Dame to Kill For was pretty disappointing aside from Eva Green's segment in that. But I like this sort of filmmaking because of the fact that it's, you know, it's different than, like, the you know, norm of what we typically get a lot of the time. And it's not for everybody, though. That's for damn sure. Some of these environments just look so manufactured and unreal, but there's a time and a place for that sort of thing that I'm totally okay with. And you know, the story is silly and as cookie cutter, which is why when you're expanding a George R.R. Martin short story, it makes me wonder if he had just the sheer goofery of things like I have to consult my notes just to remember, because it was so yeah, we've got to get across Skull River to the fire fields, and you're like, these are really the names of these places, and they, like, show the map of the journey that excuse me, Batista's character with the he's essentially assisting the witch that is Milla Jovovich's character to get across this area. She's trying to get a particular item that will allow a prince, well, she's not even a princess, she's a queen now that I think about it, to be able to transform into a werewolf, almost like at will. Like, I guess that would mean that Robert's the one to consult for something like that, but Lycan status, perhaps. So it's Batista and Milla Jovovich trying to go across this, like, shattered and, you know, dilapidated, destroyed wasteland of sorts, and they have the, I guess, kind of religious government that is on their tail the entire time, including this particular woman who is so over the top and wearing the shades, and yet there are cool little visual cues in this, you know, like the reflection in the shades as she's looking at peeps, and also there are some cool action set pieces. There is most notably one that involves a school bus that's like on I guess like these ropes of sorts, like almost like a zip line kind of thing, and you know, it's this destroyed old school bus, and like it's, you know, it's zipping down across this vast chasm, and it's pretty enthralling. It's pretty exciting. There is some, and it does veer into the horror territory, especially in the back half where there's some brutal deaths of characters, you know, that are friends of the Batista and Milla Jovovich characters, you know, ones that help them along the way in their journey. And you also get some creature action too in the back half. Now, granted, these creatures don't look incredible or anything, but they're fearsome enough to have, you know, once again, the effects are about the level of the mid to late 2000s, and I have a soft spot, even though I don't really like a lot of the Underworld movies. The second one, I think, might be my favorite, but, you know, and even with the Resident Evil ones too, that Paul W.S. Anderson had a hand in most of. Ironically, my favorite of the franchise is the second one, which he didn't direct. But, you know, still, yeah, if you go in with that essence of expectation and an open mind and not expect the world, I think that you could actually find some enjoyment in The Lost Lands. It definitely wasn't worthy of a theatrical sort of viewing or anything, which is probably why Fandango was giving away the tickets the way that it was. But yeah, man, I mean, the hip thing to do, the cool thing to do is to just, you know, take a dumpster dump on a movie of this nature. But I did find some redeeming factors. I liked the costuming, most notably like these, like, I guess like tattooed makeup, like whatever the hell it was, almost like a henna kind of thing that you had going down on Milla Jovovich. Like, she looked really cool. I was less into the way that Dave Batista was costumed, because I even saw an article that was online where they were like, this is Batista auditioning for the role of Stephen King's most iconic character, i.e. Roland Deschain from the Dark Tower, man. I don't think Mike Flanagan in a heartbeat would even consider something like that. That's not to say Batista doesn't have some chops. I mean, he's proven himself, you know. I mean, Blade Runner 2049 in that small role, I think, was one of the first times where I was just like, you know, this guy, he's actually got some stuff in there. And I dug him in the Shyamalan movie. I thought he was pretty decent. So he's improved, you know. I feel like similar to Cena as far as former wrestlers that have gotten into acting goes, and also The Rock as well. He does better in comedic situations, but at the end of the day, I didn't hate in The Lost Lands. It's still in theaters, you know. The theaters are filled with genre stuff right now. It's just not a lot of people are going to see it. This is one that I would say, if the subject matter intrigues you enough, it's goofy, it's over the top, but I actually... yeah, it's more like a 2.5 to 3, but I actually had fun with this. So I can't just, you know, it's not my MO to just, you know, hate brigade on this sort of stuff. So yeah, guys, and sound design and, you know, some of the, I mean, I touched on a myriad of the technical aspects already. It's with its redeeming qualities. It's, I think I liked it better than the Monster Hunter movie, which I believe was the last one that Paul W.S. Anderson did with his wife. Now, that film looked a little more expensive than this one, maybe, but I actually enjoyed this one more, believe it or not. So, in any event, everybody, I extend the grande gracias. That's my thoughts on In the Lost Lands. I've been Jaime and Fuego. You can find Juan on all social media sectors, all of those damn things. But here on The Horror Show, most importantly, is to like, share. If you haven't subscribed and you're just stumbling upon this video because you're like, hey, that shizzle's going to be on VOD, maybe I'll go check it out. Or I've got an extra A-list and I'm trying to figure out, you know, what I actually might find some interest in this week. at the theaters. Yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on it, guys. So, yeah, thanks so very much. Myself and Cecil are going to be doing some stuff for the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival later the week of this filming. I'm not sure when all these videos are going to debut because I'm hitting up a lot of these. But, yeah, guys, once again, I've been Fuego. Y'all have been rad status scarific. And until next time, remember, stay scared.